One day, Katrina is a 16-year-old honor student. At the moment, she has on her contacts so she's not, as she usually is, squinting. To gather her thoughts, she glances around the room and fiddles with her fingers. She sits crisscross applesauce in her pajamas. She speaks slang and alternates between fast and slow. Well, not getting a job in the future, that's what I'm scared of right now. That everything I'm doing right now in school, it means nothing, because I'm not going to get a job in the future. When I was younger, I feared, I don't know, nothing was scary. Life was good. Birds. In the future, I might have to deal with birds, and I hate birds. I don't like birds. Birds are evil. They're like the spawn of all things bad. And I want to be a vet, so people are going to expect me to treat birds. But I don't want to treat birds. That means I'm going to have to specialize or open up my own practice. I'm sometimes claustrophobic. If I feel like being dramatic, I'll feel like I'm in a tight space and it's closing in. Like if I'm on a crowded bus with my friends and they're getting too close to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, stop, I'm claustrophobic. I'm actually scared that Daddy won't remember me one day. He has a history of Alzheimer's. It scares me that he won't remember me one day, probably. That's why I listen to his stories, because one day he won't remember the stories. Religion is half brainwash and half love. They teach you stuff from when you're young, and they don't give you answers, and you just think it's true because that's what you were taught your whole life, and it's hard to stop thinking what you were taught your whole life. When you're a baby, they tell you what's a spoon, they tell you what's air, they tell you what's the light, they tell you everything. And when you're a little kid, you listen to everybody because everybody knows and you don't. So then, with religion, they tell you what they tell you and it's right because they know and you don't. And then the other half is love.